Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to your Taroscopes for the new moon in Pisces on the 13th of March, tomorrow as I'm filming, so hopefully I'll get them all out on time. As ever, this is a little introduction about the new moon and what I've got to say about it, which is not a lot this time. And then there's a timestamp in the description below to fast forward to your reading. The reason I do this is because I advise you to watch three of them: your sun, your moon, and your rising signs. And if you don't know what your moon and rising signs are, there is a link in the description down below just so you can get yourself a free birth chart. There's plenty of sources, websites online that you can get that from. Now, as ever, I would like you to ask a question prior to the reading. So have a think about, while we discuss the moon, or pause the video if you need to, have a think about all the questions that are floating around you at the moment and focus on one of them. I mean, definitely pause before the reading, just to spend that moment of focus. And be aware of all of them, though, because the cards will answer what they please, and not necessarily what you or I think are the highest priority issues. But yeah, this is a new moon at 23 degrees Pisces. It's the last of, I think, 6 new moons at 23 degrees of whatever sign they're supposed to be in that month. Supposed to be, that sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. The first thing that jumped out on me here is, well, the new moon is moon conjunct sun, as we all know. And this new moon at 23 degrees Pisces is smack bang on Albert Einstein's sun. So not a new moon in his case, but I really just like that image of, if you think about part of his identity that we all know, is his ability to think things through, to reason, to ask questions. And this is what I think this new moon is about. Watching a lot of the astrologers' videos, which I have yet to actually post on my Facebook page, link down below, I'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of them are saying this new moon is not so much a time about setting intentions this time. That's for the day after, couple of days after, 3 days after of the new moon. It's more a case of planning to set the intentions, working out what you need to have in place for you to make your mind up about how you're going to proceed further. So another way of saying that is a way to clear space for setting the intentions. So clear space indicates all the old tropes of letting go and, to a great extent, forgiveness. So if there's anything you need to work on forgiving, now's an ideal time to do it. I probably have a few things on my own list. Now, this is emphasized even more by the degree angel. At 23 degrees Pisces, this degree is ruled by the angel Manakel, who represents accountability and the knowledge of good and evil. So with that knowledge of good and evil, there's that is good for me, that is not good for me, that is just downright evil, that's just not good for me. Both of those two things we can get rid of now, hopefully. Also, Manakel is ruling Mars this time. So it's 2 planets Manakel's ruling. Mars is quintile the moon, which, if I remember correctly, bear in mind I'm not an astrologer, but indicates a creative force between the two of them. So our emotions and our urge to jump forward and do whatever are linked creatively, almost mystically. Now, Saturn, you may recall in my full moon reading that I did 2 weeks ago, Saturn was sat there listening to the moon while the angels were running around, sort of an angelic court, going, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And Saturn's going, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't understand." Saturn this time's not even talking to the moon. No aspects between the moon and Saturn whatsoever. There is one between Mars and Saturn. Let me look it up. I forget off the top of my head what it is. Yes, there's a harmony between Mars and Saturn this time. So, as in a trine aspect. So hopefully that Manachel's discernment, understanding, the thinking as shown by Albert Einstein's son, will get transferred into some form of action that Saturn can approve of, because Saturn still remains the ruler of the chart. On that note, you know how I like my looking up astrology of the first appearances of comics characters. This is also on Lex Luthor's Lilith and Lex Luthor's Mercury. So while we're in this era of Neptune in Pisces, which again just conjuncted with Venus, but more on that in a second, or is coming up to the conjunction. I think it's coming up to the conjunction. I meant to check it before I started filming. Yeah, we've just had Sun conjunct Neptune, and we're going to Venus conjunct Neptune. Really, same day. So, near as damn it. But the Lex Luthor, Lilith and Mercury, we've got, with Lex Luthor, we've got that symbol of thinking, working things out. Okay, he had a few agendas that maybe you and I might not agree with, but he was very good at communicating things and swaying public opinion. Positive and negative there. Because Neptune in Pisces, obviously, delusion, illusion, imagination run riot, obsession. And yeah, I wouldn't trust anything Lex Luthor says one way or another. So there may be more public narratives that we would need to question, but there's also that sense of people using their own discernment and making space for the new, and being aware of all the factors that are popping their head up, saying, before you make your plans, what about this? What about that? Don't forget about me. Don't forget about this thing over here. Now, also in Quintile, we have Mercury and Uranus, ruled by Rahel, who is known as Diamond in the Rough, and is also attributed to filial submission, the submission of children to their parents, for example, but also a dispenser of longevity. So Mercury in itself, in its post-shadow phase, we've had loads of things brought up to us yet again that we can now let go of. That's the idea of the post-shadow phase. The diamond in the rough makes me think of vague plans. Vague plans that you're going in that general direction, but you don't have to firm up the details yet. You don't have to cut that diamond just yet. It's beautiful as it is. As for the filial submission, yeah, I don't know. It's there. I thought I would mention it. I've no idea how that one is going to. That could be on a very personal level for people, or it could reflect the drama going on with the royal family. There's definitely generational issues occurring with this new moon that helps us determine the way forward, hopefully in a positive way. I'm feeling pretty positive about this. I mean, people will say it's Pisces being the 12th sign is very similar, but not the same. I must stress it's not the same as the 12th house. So in terms of isolation, I don't want to say isolation. I want to inward looking study, really examining that which is within us. But we've got quite a stellium here in Pisces because, what is it, Sun, Moon, Venus, Neptune. So that's a lot of power. Obviously with the Venus-Neptune conjunction, appreciation of beauty, mysticism, maybe beautiful illusions, and you will see various astrologers talk about the the beautiful love and relationship aspect. Can also be relationship to things that we value. Um, but this new moon is wonderful for, like I say, preparing to set your intentions. Let old things go, focus on what you love, and work out how what it is you love is going to carry you forward, what passion you want to follow. I said I'd talk about the Facebook thing. Link down below. Like I said, I share normally. I haven't this last week, but I think you'll understand that with you've seen the intro bit already. I normally post the videos of all the astrologers that I follow and whatever else that I find on YouTube that is in this vein of beautiful woo-woo. But it's also got a personal inbox. So if you want a personal reading from me, obviously watch the reading first so you can judge whether you want this or not. But if you want a personal reading, that's a way to get in touch with me. You are more than welcome to comment down below. I try to respond to all of my comments. Not always on time, but I don't hover over the computer. But I always like to try and respond. And it's interesting to know what you think. It's interesting to know that it's reassuring to know that the readings that I am doing are hitting home somewhere. Because in taroscopes, there's 3 layers to them, I think. There's obviously me doing the reading for a zodiac energy. Then there's you, the viewer, finding the readers that you... Oh, I've forgotten the word. I was going to say synchronize with, but that's... Nope, can't remember the right word. But the ones that you vibe with, the ones that you resonate, that's it. The ones that you resonate with. And then you have to apply the reading to your own circumstances if it sounds relevant. Absolutely and totally and utterly discard it if it does not sound relevant, because this is not a sort of form of mundane tarot reading. The reading either is for you and you'll be able to hear that, or it's not. Go and watch your rising sign, go and watch your moon sign. I mean, new moons, full moons, go and watch your moon sign always. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, because it really does help. I'm still aiming for that magic 1,000 yet. So anything you can do to assist with that will be greatly appreciated. And like I say, before I bring up the cards, just remember that one thing: ask a question first. And I think that's everything that I've got to say. I actually thought I had nothing to say about this new moon, and I've not said a lot, but I think that in and of itself is significant, that it's this space. Pisces can be about rebirth. So it is this space, like the creative void before the word, that we are able to set the directions of our own rebirth. Or at least, being a tarot reading, because I'm always talking about new beginnings, because that's what the cards do, this month's rebirth. So I hope you're all well, and I will bring up your cards. Cheers. Well, this couldn't be a more Aries reading if it tried. It's got some really positive influences, but quite a few caveats. Looking at the oracle cards to start off with, we have be bold and make the first move, cardinal moon. That would be an Aries moon, would be cardinal. And then from the Queen of the Moon oracle, we have action with the waning gibbous 6 moon. So that is really talking about, come on Aries, go and be you. Go ahead and do what you are wanting. Chase after what you are wanting. However, we have here Lilith, the thief of time, from the Mausolea oracle, and that is asking you first to question your goal. question, am I doing this? Well, basically for the right reasons. Yeah, go ahead and do it as long as you're sure it's the right thing to do. You're sure it is, that you are doing it for the right reasons, that you are doing this not to prove something, not to um, not to affirm something in somebody else's eyes, not to get one up, but that you are chasing after whatever it is because it is truly what you want, and you are wanting it in a loving fashion. Because how you're feeling, we have the sun clarified by Four of Cups. There's some guidance that you have received, but you've been really bored with, how do I put this? You've been really bored with the you that you've seen moving around recently, and you're wanting to go, yeah, there's more to me than this. There's a different aspect of me than this that I am wanting to show to the world. Um, and part of that is from boredom. And part of that, because I've been this person for however long, and there's more to me than this. And there's more to me than this that other people aren't seeing. But bear in mind, what did I say at the start? You're not doing it to prove anything to other people. You're doing it for yourself. So, surely what you would be saying there is, there's more to me than what I have been expressing. I need to express these other aspects of me. And that has come from a sense of boredom. But there has also been some form of guidance and support that has come in for you that hopefully you have picked up on and have listened to. Because Four of Cups, two-edged card, like they all are. Yeah, you're bored. Absolutely, you're bored, and you're wanting to surge forward. And other people, someone else is recognizing that. Someone else is recognizing that this is a new beginning time for you, and that you do have the skills, the technical know-how, the understanding, or just the sheer power to move ahead in a new direction. But again, as long as you're doing that for the right reasons, and it's not just because I'm bored, I want to do something else now. Don't know what else I want to do. No, this time is for looking at what else you want to do. Because right in the middle of the cards, we have the Nine of Swords. Here in the Thoth Tarot representing cruelty, but remember it's nightmares, stress, anxiety. But clarify with the Ace of Wands, there's something that you are finally going to deal with. Come what may, it's time to deal with this. However, the reason you haven't dealt with it before is that you have been overburdened with other responsibilities. Let's put it that way, other responsibilities. And those are responsibilities that you've been very, very protective over. Very, is like, no, this is my job. But right now, the whole point of this is redefining what you see your job as, which is something you're wanting to do. So just make sure that you are not trapping yourself here. If there is some outside force limiting how you express this new aspect of you, this new you that you want to be reborn into and reinterpret for the world to consume, then I honestly feel, you're not going to like this bit, Aries. I honestly feel that can be lessened, that can be balanced, but it's mainly going to be balanced by you doing the whole going within, checking your own emotions, going, hang it, I'm feeling this burden that's limiting me, but it's a burden that I want to defend. It's a burden that I am aiming to protect, and I have been protecting it. Why? And if it's a burden that I'm happy with, why do I feel that it is limiting me? And if it is a burden that is limiting me, why do I put up with it? So, two very different questions there. Because with this moon card, with the Knave of Cups, I'm seeing a necessity for, so almost you get forced to a bit of introspection, exactly like what I was talking about in the start. This spread could actually be the what I was saying in the introduction to the video. But there is progress and wish fulfillment on offer. So you have to look at, so far, up until this point, what secondary gains had you been getting from being under this burden, from carrying this burden, whatever it was. This thing that you do feel is limiting you, but have also been passionately defending. Which, when it's spelt out like that, is a bit weird, really, isn't it? It doesn't make a great deal of sense, because I think there is an influence around you that is saying, you can change things. You can go and, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Someone's really... Now, I'm not sure whether this is an actual agenda or whether this is just circumstance, but someone is enabling you to see a new beginning, enabling you to come into your power, or at least come into a new form of your power. Because over here, there's not an absence of power, there is just a great presence of busy. And so you haven't had the opportunity to really show that power off. And this is that aspect of you that you would like to show to the world. Now, Spirit is bringing in Nine of Cups. So it's wishes, wish fulfillment, but also, yeah, you get everything that you're asking for, which is why it's a good reason to check what secondary gains you've been getting from carrying this burden or being subjected to this burden, because that could easily be what you're asking for, unless you are careful. But either way, things are going to start moving. There is a with the Chariot clarifying that Nine of Cups, I'm rather seeing that there is movement towards what is a wish fulfillment for you. And these two oracle cards here are saying, go for it, grab it. And what Lilith is saying is, as long as you're grabbing it for the right reasons. Because you felt, oh, this is interesting. You've felt tired by constantly being fair, but this isn't fair as in this is fair and this is not fair. This is fair within a structure, within a set of rules. Under the rules that we are operating under, this is the fairest that we can make the situation. And therefore, I feel that again, here, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Wands crossing you, it's showing that it is now time to not break the rules, but review the rules. Is this rule still necessary because it's been taking so much out of me? Now, do not expect this to be easy. We have, for the future, for where you're heading into, to achieve all of this, Five of Swords, Three of Swords. So, challenge, conflict. But with this particular Five of Swords, there's also a sense of the damage that the conflict would do has already been done. It's now time to mourn, pick up what pieces you can, leave the rest and move on, because it is a necessary growing experience that you've been going through, and it is not yet quite finished. And again, that brings me back to the whole do not set intentions with this new moon. Plan to be in a position where you can set intentions, because you don't want any emotional filters or any burdens skewing the intentions that you are wanting to set. Again, why Lilith, thief of life, here is saying examine your motives. So there is some stuff yet that you need to mourn, you need to release, you need to let go of, you need to feel that pain and be made better by it. Because there seems to be a fear here that doing all of this, and making the commitment to the new path, or even keeping with the commitments that have been keeping you feeling trapped, even though you've wanted to passionately defend them. And I have to say again, if you are passionately defending them, then how trapped are you really? Surely you are where you want to be. And if you don't want to be there, do something about it. But you're worried that all the commitments that you can make will be fairy favours. There's too many of them. There's, you could do this, you could do that, you could do the other, and you can make all these sort of commitments at the moment, and none of them are worth the paper that they're written on. True. Yeah, absolutely. That could be true, especially if you are operating under this moon card at the moment. It's not just your emotions that are needed to make this decision. It is your intellect that is required to make this decision. It's your intellect that helps you get here and abide by the rules you had been abiding by so far. So this, I do feel that when I'm saying rules, I'm not thinking about laws and legislation and governments and that sort of thing. I'm talking about more family rules, accepted social dynamics within a certain social group of friends, that sort of thing. Maybe a work thing, because it's Aries and it's always about work with you. But I think more those sort of unspoken, unwritten rules that we all abide by and we all know, although we'd be hard pressed to find them on paper anywhere. Now, this burden that you are wanting to shift ain't going away necessarily anytime soon. But what this new moon is promising is fresh eyes for you to look at it. So it's not just the new moon here. This new moon flavor of where to, putting yourself in a space to set the intentions later, that looks like it's a little more ongoing, because this burden isn't disappearing. 10 of Wands here, 10 of Wands on the final outcome card. But this final 10 of Wands feels a lot happier. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this. So I'm not necessarily saying it's exactly the same burden, but you are equally as burdened, but quite possibly not feeling as much trapped. More feeling that, oh my God, the horizon is so big and it's so far away and there's so much world in between me and there. That these rules that I was on about, their importance, their relevance seems to have faded somewhat. If you're doing the examination, you can see, well, that rule is rubbish. I nearly said something else, but that rule is rubbish because it's all based on my great-grandmother's emotional insecurity, or it's all based on this person's need for money no matter what the cost, or it's all based on, and you can look at the foundations of a lot of these unspoken, unwritten rules and go, that one I'm happy with, that one I feel okay with. This one is based on somebody else's issue that's nothing to do with me. Why am I listening to it? So it's a growth time, and it's a growth time that you have to engage with. So you are going to be attempting to put down your burden, but that is not going to be as simple as what you think it is. Mainly because there's still a lot of you that wants to defend that burden, and you need to figure out why. And also, certain aspects of it, you may think, it's not exactly the burden I thought it was. It is where I want to be. And I think there's going to be equal helpings of both. So you're streamlining the rules that you are working with. You are streamlining your position in all of this. And you are streamlining how much you allow yourself to feel trapped by this situation, whatever it is. The other thing I want to point out is there's a lot of nines. We have 9 of Cups, 9 of Swords, and then the Moon, being card number 18, reduces to a 9. But it's showing a growth. As it 9, 9, 18, 9. It's showing a growth as we are bringing these plans down from spirit into the real world through a forge. The 9 of Swords is never pleasant. It may be self-generated, or it could be external imposed. And there's plenty external imposed, but I think there is maybe a bit of self-generated anxiety as a reaction to the external imposed with the burden that you are facing and protecting. But the 9, 9, 18, 9, God, I sound like Herman Cain, don't I? It shows to me a progress, but one where you are going to have to face some pain, do some mourning, show show where the ouch points are, because they have got a lot to tell you. And some of the ouches is because you were wounded, and some of the ouches is because you'd put yourself in that position because of the way you was holding yourself. And it's just feel the ouch and then get rid. Like when you have one of those massages that really hurt while it's happening, but afterwards feels so freed up. Like I assume what it's like going to a chiropractor. I don't know. I've never been, but it looks horrible. But I know so many people feel so much free afterwards. That's a lot, really. I'm only going to be repeating myself. So, probably no monthlies this month. We're already nearly halfway through the month. But there'll be a full moon towards the end of the month, I think. And there will be monthlies next month. All right. Cheers. Oh, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff.